Tonight, tourists flock to Whyalla, leaving hotspots fully booked out. And New Zealand travellers enter South Australia, not part of the Trans-Tasman travel bubble.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamain begins now.
Good evening. Whyalla's tourism industry is continuing to thrive, with many restaurant and hotel owners having to turn people away for the first time in months. Tourism operators say the welcome surge in visitors is seeing regional South Australian businesses boom.
Gearing up for the rush of another busy lunch and dinner service, it's a pleasant sight for this venue manager here at the Air Hotel.
Business is going really well. It started to pick up over the last few weeks. We've seen a lot more tourists in the town and generally people going out eating at the moment as well. It's been fantastic.
Staff at venues across the city having to turn some visitors away, with many reaching full capacity. The influx of tourists bringing a much needed cash injection into the city's economy.
We're almost booked out every weekend in the restaurant, and accommodation over the last few weeks has almost been running at 100% capacity.
The state government continuing to push regional travel, with recent tourism vouchers an extra incentive.
Those that were lucky enough to secure one of the South Australian Tourism Commission's vouchers for travel, we're accepting them.
It's a chance for visitors who otherwise would be travelling overseas to check out the gems in their very own backyard.
This month we're already seeing an increase of around 40% from our figures from last year, so this last month has been amazing.
Flocks of tourists are using Whyalla as a hub, staying here for a few nights, eating at the restaurants and cafes, and even booking a tour before moving on to the next regional city.
Let me tell you, they're on the jetty. They're on it during the day to have an ice cream and see what's going on, and they're getting back out there at night. They want to see it under lights, they want to experience it in its full glory.
Yes, that was one of the attractions to come here. We're from Adelaide.
A lot better seeing a lot of people out, and they're obviously enjoying being out and enjoying everything that this town has to offer as well.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
New Zealand travellers have been allowed into South Australia, despite not yet being part of the country's travel bubble. Though initially set for hotel quarantine, it was announced today the state will allow Kiwi tourists to enter without being quarantined. So far, New Zealanders are only allowed to enter New South Wales and the Northern Territory as part of the Trans-Tasman travel scheme, with talks now underway of that extending to South Australia. A prescribed burn is set to take place on the outskirts of Port Lincoln tomorrow morning. It's one of 3 burns planned for spring, aiming to reduce fuel loads ahead of the bushfire season. An aircraft will be used to help ignite the burn, with smoke and fire visible. The operation will begin west of Tulka in the Lincoln base just before 10:30. The Australian Defence Force recruitment team has touched down in Port Pirie as part of a regional tour. Officers are encouraging residents to consider a career in the industry with a special focus on diversity.
There's never a dull moment in the Australian Defence Force. Now, these recruitment officers have touched down at Port Pirie's Uni Hub to answer questions about a career in the industry.
Do some presentations and try and attract interest in a Defence Force career. Currently a group of us from Defence Force recruiting travelling the north of the state.
These officers coming together from different sectors, saying there's many career paths including hospitality, healthcare and communications.
All 3 services and 250 various job roles that might be available and create opportunities for somebody.
To get an aircraft off the ground, you need refuelers, you need a pilot, you need other maintainers, you need a logistics system, and all that happens in the background to get one aircraft off the ground.
Some local faces also making an appearance to encourage other regional residents to take the leap.
Yeah, so I'm from Ardrossan, small country town on the York Peninsula. I grew up there and then moved to Adelaide when I finished school.
He'll be meeting with Far North elders to speak about what the industry can offer.
We're increasing our Indigenous engagement at the moment, in particular with my role. So to be able to come up here and try and inspire young Aboriginal people to join Defence is rewarding.
Officers also working to bring in more females to the force.
Quite excited to actually get out into the communities, have a chat and hopefully get some women in to apply. That would be fantastic.
Saying there's also studying options with more information available through Uni Hub.
Defence can actually pick up the rest of the payments for that university degree, give you a salary while you finish the remainder of your studies, and you've pretty much got a job at the end of it. So
Now heading off to Port Augusta, those interested are encouraged to seek more information.
Engaging with the school there tomorrow morning, and then we head up to Roxby Downs, which is an information session, and then we head over to Cooper Pedy, which is also another information session. So we'll be in both locations over the next couple of days.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, Port Pirie's Candlelight Carols cancelled, and Port Lincoln's prawn fleet off searching for delicious delicacies for Christmas. Welcome back. Port Pirie's Candlelight Carols is the latest event to hit the chopping block, cancelled due to COVID-19 restrictions. Organisers say they're devastated to pull the pin on the much-loved event, but were forced to make the tough decision. The annual Christmas pageant was also recently announced as another canned event. Residents are being encouraged to still get into the Christmas spirit and put their festive lights up in celebration. A fleet of nearly 40 boats has left Port Lincoln's marina for the annual prawn hunt ahead of the Christmas season. Last year, more than 400 tonnes of prawns were caught, though skippers say they're optimistic this season will be even bigger.
At first light, 39 boats power out of Port Lincoln's marina on the hunt for prawns.
We're going a little bit earlier this year because the moon falls, because they fish over the dark of the moon, and the moon falls really close to Christmas, so the guys wanted to get out a little bit earlier and make sure they could get the product to the market.
One by one, the boats head out into the open ocean for the annual 50-night Christmas hunt.
The guys are fishing up out of Wallaroo, so somewhere up near the channel, Steamer Channel, Wallaroo, and a little bit north. That's where they operate. That's where the main fishing ground is.
It's looking like prawns will be on the menu for the festive season, with crews optimistic on stock size. Last year managed to bring in around 400 tonnes, but was cut short by 10 days as bad weather hampered vessels.
Hopefully this trip they'll get 3 to 4 tonnes. They'll come back on around the quarter of the moon, and then they'll go back out again in November.
The prawn industry injects a lucrative $106 million into South Australia's economy each year, with that figure only growing. Despite Port Lincoln's marina currently looking a bit empty, it'll soon be transformed into a hive of activity as boats return home and start to distribute prawns to markets.
425 tonnes is not a lot of product to go around Christmas time, so get in there and get your orders in.
Nathan Rector, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Centrecare Catholic Country SA has partnered with UniHub Spencer Gulf to offer scholarships to those embarking on social work studies. Both organisations are focusing on supporting local students to begin their careers within the region.
Extra support offered to social work students, aiming to provide more opportunities come graduation.
And social work's been consistently identified as one of those areas of real need in the region. There's almost consistent employment opportunities for graduates of social work right here in the region.
Applications are now open for the $2,500 scholarships to students willing to undertake placement with Centrecare during their studies.
We're delighted to be able to provide these 2 scholarships to students, one in Port Augusta and one in Port Pirie, who are studying with the UniHub.
With a focus on keeping graduates in our cities to deliver the care that is needed and well understood.
We know that people supported to learn and grow in their communities are then in the best position to be able to provide services to their own communities.
UniHub CEO highlighting the importance of connecting local employers to students.
In terms of supporting the local qualifications and the local career opportunities and those partnerships with our local employers who'll pick up the graduates at the end of their qualification.
Applications can be found online. Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Preparations underway for an event for polio awareness, and tunes ring out from a music academy touring the Eyre Peninsula. Hello again. Port Lincoln Rotary Club is set to play host to a national youth relay event, raising funds in the fight against polio. The baton, which will be carried by the drivers, is expected to leave Alice Springs this Saturday en route to the finish line in Adelaide.
In front of Port Lincoln's towering theatre, a team on a mission to end polio.
It's become almost completely eradicated, but there's still some small pockets of it that are an issue.
Polio mainly affects children under 5 years old and has been a key focus by Rotary International. Since the early 80s, the group has raised more than $2 billion, with a new campaign set to kick off this weekend.
A vehicle that's coming from Adelaide and going to tour the whole district, Rotary district.
The ute will hit the road in Alice Springs this Saturday to coincide with World Polio Day. Drivers expected to carry a baton which will travel across 3 states. The vehicle set to become a symbol in the fight against the virus.
For every dollar that Rotary raises, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in the United States provide $2 for every dollar raised, and you're talking billions of dollars.
The relay will have a pit stop at Port Lincoln's Theatre to recharge the batteries and have a viewing of I Am Woman.
The picture theatres have been granted that for exclusive use by the Rotary clubs of South Australia and Victoria, I believe.
For more information, visit the Port Lincoln Rotary Club. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
This year's Defaces Art Camp was a huge success, with more than 20 participants from across the region joining in the fun. From dance to drama, it was a chance for young creatives to get to know one another and work with trained professionals.
Practicing their gymnastic skills, these talented students diving into a 3-day art camp jam-packed with fun activities.
Defaces has the capacity to start supporting some further out regions, so this was a great chance for us to connect with some people from Port Augusta, Crystal Brook all came together. Some from Adelaide even came up and joined in.
The camp, organised by Wyalla's Defaces organisation and funded through Country Arts SA and Carclu, seeing 22 artistic students work alongside trained professionals.
We had 5 artists from all sorts of different art forms being the main leaders of the camp, as well as a great team of volunteers that all kind of helped support and mentor the young people.
For drama teacher Michael Hughes, her camp highlight was learning about why the students enjoy art in all forms.
They were just so passionate about the arts and their communities and how what they did had impacted their lives and their mental health as well.
My biggest highlight or my biggest takeaway from the weekend would probably just be how lovely it is to be in a room full of creative people. Sometimes, particularly for regional people, sometimes we're the only person in our community that does what we do.
Defaces run workshops for interested drama students every Monday evening.
We have drama workshops, which I facilitate, and so we have a group of young people that come in and we play lots of drama games and do workshopping on plays.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Meanwhile, a group of musicians has today dazzled students with a performance at Carlton School. The Music Academy is touring around the region, offering mentoring and creative music workshops.
This Carlton School gym transformed into a jazz theatre. These students soaking up the sounds.
I really enjoyed it because it had blues in it and I love blues. Also, they were really coordinated and really good. It was very cool, different instruments.
The big band consisted of 17 students from the University of Adelaide, featuring a range of instruments.
They were playing the drums, the vocal thing with the voice, the vocals, and saxophones, trumpets.
The band's lecturer is hoping performances like these in schools will help inspire young people to choose music as a study and career pathway.
We just want to spread the word about the arts and people to have the opportunity to see what you might be able to study at tertiary level.
Saying music has a positive influence on students.
It's been documented so many times. It's not just the activity, it is what it does to a child's brain. It just makes you smarter. It helps you problem solve. And it gives you a different perspective in terms of creativity.
The band will continue their regional tour until Friday. Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Shari Hams will bring you all the latest in sport. And Britt will join us with the weather details. Welcome back. Summer sports are starting up across the region, with tennis and basketball players commencing training in the York Mid-North. Windy and wet conditions cancelled some Port Pirie softball matches over the weekend, but A1 women's matches powered through. Shari Hams has more.
It may have been sunny skies for round 1 of Port Pirie softball, but senior players were forced to brave the elements in round 2 on Saturday. Cougars and Checkmates facing off in an interesting match, with Cougars being held scoreless for the first 2 innings. It is hard to keep a good side down, and young Georgia Salt proved her worth as a lead batter, playing high up the order. Anne Ransack put Checkmates' side away in the first dig when they faced 14 pitches for a side. A standout for Checkmates was Abby Sutcliffe, who registered 3 safe hits. Checkmates were able to get runners on base, but once again needed the depth of batters to bring runners around. Tigers and Cats were involved in the first draw of the season in a low-scoring affair. Kelsey Monaghan looked extremely comfortable at the second for Cats with some good outs. The most consistent batter for Cats was Erin Martin. Now turning to Whyalla soccer, it's the last match of the season before the Bill Patterson Association Cup final. Lions were no match for Croatia, losing by 2 goals. Still also came out on top of Wanderers 3-1. Lions and Wanderers will be facing off in next weekend's cup in both A and B grade. Down to Clare Valley Basketball Association, and in the senior men's leagues, Clippers were no match for Jailblazers, losing 27-56. Picks drew with the under-18s men's, Bulls and Hornets following suit with the draw. Sixers forfeited to Jack Squires. Some sports were cancelled due to windy and wet conditions, including Port Pirie's tennis. And that's all for sports from across the region. If you would like your team's results featured, let us know through our Facebook page.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Britt.
Thanks, Ruby, and good evening. It's been a fine and partly cloudy day today. As of 3 p.m, Port Augusta, Port Pirie and Kadina all had recorded maximums of 26 degrees. It got to a high of 27 degrees at Woodna. Whyalla reached 25 today. 23 was the high at Broken Hill and Clare. Coffin Bay 22, Adelaide 20, Port Lincoln 18. As I mentioned, we saw partly cloudy skies. As we look now at the satellite images, we can see cloud to our west and northwest, with the trough generating some showers that way, and areas of higher cloud sitting to our east. Moving on to tomorrow, on the Gulf waters, winds east to northeasterly at 10 to 15 knots, but becoming east to southeasterly in the afternoon. Local afternoon sea breezes at around 10 knots about the eastern coast. Seas around 1 metre tomorrow, with south to southwesterly swells up to 1.5 metres. Mostly sunny conditions expected at Port Lincoln tomorrow, with a high of 21 degrees. Cleve mostly sunny and 27. Woodna also mostly sunny with a top of 33 degrees. A sunny day for Whyalla, looking at a top of 28. Port Augusta sunny tomorrow and 32. Kadina sunny with a high of 27 degrees. Mostly sunny conditions for Port Pirie with a high of 30. Clare mostly sunny and 27. And a partly cloudy day for Broken Hill, also 27. Taking a look ahead to the end of the week now, showers expected about Adelaide and the Lower Eyre Peninsula on Thursday. Fine and partly cloudy elsewhere. Warming up to a high of 34 degrees at Port Augusta. Woodna expected to reach 32. Broken Hill and Port Pirie both 31. Whyalla 29. A high of 25 for Adelaide. Kadina with a top of 27 degrees. And Port Lincoln 20. Friday, showers expected across the Spencer Gulf and Broken Hill regions. A high of 28 degrees for Port Augusta. Broken Hill and Port Pirie both 27. Woodna 26. A top of 24 for both Whyalla and Kadina. Adelaide expected to reach 23 degrees on Friday. Port Lincoln 19. And finally now, looking ahead to Saturday. Showers for Adelaide as well as the Lower and Eastern Eyre Peninsula. Cloudy about the York Peninsula and the mid-north, with fine and partly cloudy conditions expected about the remaining forecast districts. Maximums in the late teens and early 20s, with a high of 23 degrees at Broken Hill. Port Augusta 22 on Saturday. Tops of 21 for Woodna, Whyalla, Port Pirie and Kadina. Adelaide 20, Port Lincoln 18. And Ruby, that's it for the weather today. It's back to you.
Wonderful, thanks for that, Britt. And that's the local news this Tuesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.